In today's video, we buy a car that doesn't even run because I'm an idiot. I almost forgot to mention, just like my other Nissan, this Nissan has a V8.
Let it heat up for a sec. Or don't, whatever.
2 years ago, Amanda bought an S13 from her friend Abby, but recently she bought a Mustang to learn how to drift, so the S13 got abandoned. And because I look at abandoned cars like Sarah McLachlan looks at abandoned puppies, I have decided to adopt the S13. I feel like I'd fix this car quicker than I could put a motor in the Mustang. So in today's video, we're going to talk about this car a little bit and try to fix it. So my first step was to go through and check every single fuse that I could, but finding every fuse on this car was a little difficult because it is a swap. So that meant that I had to take the fenders off to actually get to the fuses to check for continuity. Could just make this thing a death cart. That would look pretty cool. We're going to disconnect the battery tube. After I checked every single relay and fuse that was on the passenger side, also found a bunch of relays on the driver's side as well. I really think it's that EFI relay, but I don't know where it is. Make sure that it's clicking, because when I jump that wire through, I don't hear any kind of clicking, so I'm kind of convinced that it's an MREL, or fuel injection relay. All just 10 millimeters in tie wraps. I think this car has potential, but goddamn, this thing's beat up. I'm not even sure how fast it's going to be. Now you can see the relays over here. This one is busted. I still don't see the relay that I'm looking for. This one's completely unplugged. Now I'm wondering if the relay box for the motor is actually under here, which probably is. Probably should just check that under here first. There's a lot of fuses. So I guess I'll check all these fuses under here. The next step was to move on to the ECU. On 1UZs, the ECU seems to be one of the main things that fails. These motors are getting pretty old, which meant that this ECU is probably around 30 years old. It doesn't look bad. I'm not sure about that one. It might be an issue. Maybe they were just touching. Let's unscrew this just to inspect it. See how it looks inside. Kind of hope it is messed up in here, just so I know what's wrong. Even though this will be a little expensive, it'll be kind of easy to fix. Bottom side looks pretty clean and nothing like burnt. So let's look at the other side where all the diodes and stuff are. Everything looked pretty solid inside, but I decided to buy another ECU anyway, because even if it wasn't the ECU, I still might want to have one of these laying around as a spare.
Several days later.
My heart is broken because I haven't been able to do anything on this for a few days. I thought that I got iced, but I guess not. Would have been nice. I'm kind of thirsty, to be honest. Packed pretty well. Thank you, eBay seller. I'll put his name right here. It seemed like there's 50 different ECUs for these motors. This one is going to be a 1990 non-traction control LS400 ECU. Being that it's 33 years old now, it's going to be harder to find these. We'll see how it goes. A moment of truth.
Thousands of tears later.
Snooping around and I found another relay that I didn't know was there. It seems like it's not pulling in when I try to use my little battery pack. This is pretty corroded. It's in a really bad spot, so I'm just wondering if this relay's bad. I'm gonna check it again by cleaning up the contacts, throwing my 12 volts on it to see if it clicks, but I think this relay might be dead. And there's a lot of stuff spliced into it, so I feel like it's an important relay. We're gonna find out right now. Normally I wouldn't recommend doing this unless this was fused, because this battery pack could potentially explode in your face. It's 12 volts, so it's the same voltage as all your relays on a car. I had this laying around from some LED ideas that I had. But if you look on most relays, it'll show you what the contacts are going to be and what the coil is going to be. Usually the numbers with the little lever on it are going to be your contacts, and then the other one's going to be your coil. 86, and I guess that's 85 should be the coil, and it's not clicking on. So I think this relay is bad. So we're going to try to jump it through and see if it starts, because that'll mean the relay was bad. I don't know, we'll see. Most likely this is fused, so if I jump this through to the wrong terminal, it should be okay. Just pay attention and make sure you're doing the right contacts if you're doing this kind of thing. It could potentially burn your car down. I'm a trained electrician, so I just do what I want. There's no voltage on it right now with the ignition off. That's supposed to be my power terminals. Turn it on. Now it has 12 volts on it with the power on. So this thing was definitely doing something ignition related. Feeling a little bit more confident about this. Let's try to start it now.
Yes, I fixed something finally.
Alright, I'm happy. Oh, we're gonna have fun. Welcome to the family. If you're ever messing with a swap, just make sure there's no extra relays that are hidden, because that's what happened. It's pretty smooth for a car that hasn't moved in 2 years. Now we just gotta put the interior back together and we have a running and driving drift car, I think. Hopefully the clutch is good and all that, but it runs. Headlights. Abby said the taillights didn't work. Blinkers don't work, but whatever. Because it's jumped out, it's not going to stop running until I pull my jumper.
Yes, I did it, you guys.
Now something smells like it's on fire. Amazon had some new ones, super cheap. I think it was like $15 and there's like 10 of them. This should get us back safely on the road. Now I just have to put the car completely back together with the fenders, the side skirts, maybe the bumper, and also put a seat inside this thing. Once I got the car running, I had the dumb idea of trying to fix the brake lights to make the car a bit more drivable. There was an unplugged harness and missing bulbs, and once all that was put back together, it would just blow fuses. This escalated to me cutting up the harness and removing any wire I could find that went to nowhere in order to try to clear the short. It was a long process, but
The next day,
here's my harness that I taped up. Really should have time-lapsed that. It probably would look cool if I was wrapping tape super fast. We're also going to get some cable armor for this. There's a couple little pieces laying around here and there, but I'm going to run out and try to get a little bit more of this just for going between the front of the car and the rear. I also ran a spare to the rear just in case I need a spare wire. So I threw that in a bundle in case I want to control something in the rear from up front. I could put a switch somewhere, like on the side here or something. And then also a ground that we're going to put underneath of the seat, like right about here, just to give it a little more of a better path to ground. There was a lot of stuff spliced onto that ground in particular that's going to this box. But I did a continuity check on the circuit for the tail lights and it was clean. So I either clean the short up, or once I attach this negative, it's gonna start bleeding through or something. In that case, I did run a spare one of these because I had an unbroke red with blue stripe when I was cutting the old harness out. So I can just kind of get all of this stuff out of the way and then take this directly to brake light switch if I want, because I could just intercept the circuit up here up front. Anyway, we're gonna keep at it, and I'm also gonna try to get the seat in today and vacuum this out a little bit because it looks disgusting between all the tape, the leaves, the dust, the rust, and yeah. So the seat was a bit of a pain. When Amanda got this car, I cut out the bracket put in by the previous owner because she's a bit shorter than them. We tried to put a few sliders on a Planet bracket, but the fit was still a little too far back for her. It might have been another reason that she decided to sell the car to me. And with that setup, I wound up being a little bit too tall, so I bought a few hard Sparco brackets to put on the Planet bracket, but that fit still didn't work out for me. So I decided to weld the Sparco brackets to the original square stock bracket, and the fit worked out pretty nicely finally. Today will be the day where we finally take this thing out for a drive on the street. So I had a random thought with this car. This car is responsible for the most viral thing that I've ever posted. I posted an Instagram short where there was like some ice on the car cover. Just took a TikTok sound and put it over top of that.
For the boys, all these guys will just come in and like your video and watch it.
And as of right now, it has like 1 million and some views, so my most viral car technically. And I don't even own it completely. I still owe Amanda a lot of money, which I should probably be using towards the 2011, but I need a car to drive. So we're gonna keep moving on with this idea. I did put the dash back in. I had to cut a couple bolt holes, but the seat finally feels like it's in a good position. I did have to take the cover out because I have such a big torso, but I think that this is gonna work. I only got a couple tacks on the handbrake bracket because I'm not sure if I want to brace this up a little bit more. Plus I'm gonna get a 0-dish wheel. I want to make sure that the wheel doesn't hit the handbrake and all that. But it should be good enough for a test drive as long as it starts when I reconnect the battery. Somebody told me I shouldn't post my tag online, and every time I go to a car show or a drift event, I'll just take my tag off because it's supposed to be so dangerous if you have your tags on the internet. Maryland gives you two, one for the front and one for the rear. It's going to be our rear tag. A month on the left, and then the year on the right. Me and this car have had a lot of time together. It's been a love-hate relationship, if I'm going to be honest, but I think we'll have some fun. Or I'll just get bored of this car and sell it so I can buy another Coyote. Looks like there's two waspices. I don't know how you say the plural form of wasp. I'm gonna take my chances with the Wasp, and I'm gonna take my chances with driving to Sheetz with no fenders on the car. This is gonna be the first drive of this car in 2 years, finally. After all this time and headache, we're just gonna go to Sheetz and get some gas, but it's still a momentous occasion. I still think I'm too big and old for this car, but one convenient thing is that there's a lot of cage and there's holes in the dash so I can put cameras in different spots. My biggest fear right now is getting attacked by a wasp.
Beast! Beast in the car!
Made it to Sheetz. One small step for Rob, one giant leap for Rob's new shitbox. Sounds like a Mustang. It sounds pretty good. The exhaust is like right there. I really want to do a little rip, but I don't really trust this car. Pretty sure you can't even hear me. I didn't even check the tire pressures now that I'm thinking about it. I should go to the hell home. One pull. But it was a lot of smoke. This poor car. It's running pretty cool. They're gonna take it home though. It's too dusty. It's too dusty today. Because the exhaust exits on the side every time somebody goes by, you can hear it extra. I like it. It feels like a race car. Fun times. So the first test drive went pretty good, but I kept it short because I knew that the tires were probably pretty low, and they were. Plus I didn't have seat belts in the car, so that's very dangerous. Don't do that. But we're gonna pump the tires up and put the harnesses in and put the fenders back on and the side skirts and all that stuff. It's this one, right? Yeah. That was a G35, by the way, in case you were wondering. But the entire body kit's put on with just self-tapping screws. I might look at ordering a new one because the front bumper is really trashed and the rear bumper is pretty bad too. The rear bumper might be salvageable, but it's a lot of work. I think it's like 800 bucks for the full kit for this car. So maybe I'll look into it. And I really feel like I need to at least change the color of this car because somebody else built it. And Abby had a lot of views on TikTok and stuff with it. So I don't want people rolling up next to me thinking I'm Abby. I might even look into like wrapping it. I'm kind of burnt out on paint right now, to be honest. This is supposed to be budget. I still got a motor to pay for that car. So we're just going to keep this as cheap as possible for now so we can get seat time, which I'm hoping the first track day is relatively soon. I think, maybe. Hopefully. Dark already because I got distracted, but the fenders and the side skirts are on. Makes a huge difference. I don't care what anybody says about body kits. Body kits really make a car sometimes. And on this one, it's kind of that case. I really think I should buy a new kit, but like I said earlier, we're trying to keep this all budget. So whatever I decide to do with the bumper will be in this next clip right here. This is the front bumper. Somebody wrecked it at some point. As you can see, it's pretty bad. I'm not even sure if there's enough pieces left to drift stitch this. Like that'll go there. I was never very good at puzzles. It's actually, most of it's there. And then this is gonna be the side. I mean, it's maybe fixable. I feel like I need to have something there because it's just an open bar. I'm gonna have to fix this at some point to go a little bit further out. Even the fender's cracked. I mean, the side skirts are cracked. The whole damn thing, really. Looks like somebody drilled some holes already, but got some fresh tie wraps and a drill bit. Just gonna see what we can make of it. Drift stitching works pretty good in a couple spots, but not so good in others because there's nothing really to support it. It's a big gap there where something's just missing. In hindsight, I should have just took some Bondo and kind of Bondoed it up, but I think that this will hold once I get it on the car and throw a tie wrap through there and onto the car. Harbor Freight actually had a pretty good assortment of zip ties. In case you need some, just go to Harbor Freight. Or get them from Amazon, but I didn't feel like waiting. And when you're cutting tie wraps, always cut them perpendicular and with a good pair of cutters like these Adam LZ cutters. Because if you cut them this way, it's basically going to make a bunch of little razor blades. And it's going to cut your arms and give you a bunch of scars.
Wanna know how I got these scars?
Should probably replace these. They're looking a little dry rotted too. I'll probably through bolt these areas. I don't want self-tappers flying out while I'm on the road. But it looks so much better with the front bumper. I used to think bash bars were cool, but front bumper covers are where it's at, really. Probably could have did a better job with the center section, but I think I'm just going to leave it as is. The other thing I really wanted to do today was try to protect the wiring a bit better. The main power lead is going through the car with no kind of protection whatsoever. The fuel pump wires, which are the red ones, are going to be fused, but that big black one is not. And that's pretty much all the battery power that goes to the starter, just going through that raw metal. So we're going to try to pull this out and then drill that hole bigger and then put a grommet there and some cable armor just to make it a little bit more safe. Get some cable armor and a grommet on the cable. Still need to tighten it up just a bit, but because it's late in the day and the sun is setting, I want to get the car clean because we haven't washed it in 2 years. I'm not sure how I'm going to wash it, but I think I'm going to disconnect the battery, clean the motor a bit because this is all dusty. It's not supposed to rain in the next 24 hours, so I'm just going to hose it out, let it dry. Black looks so dirty when it's dusty, and it is really dirty. I could just detail it by hand, but I am really busy and tired, and allergies are killing me today, so we are just gonna hose this thing off with a pressure washer and a foam cannon. And I think it'll clean up nice. We'll disconnect the battery just to keep everything safe. And yeah.
Later that same evening.
Really liking how it looks. I'm finally starting to like this car, and I haven't even put any kind of miles on it, really. We're gonna wait for the sun to set a little bit more and do like a cool B-roll sequence. I'm gonna make it look pretty. Trying to cover that up, and there's a snake in there. I feel like I can scoop him away if I need to. I don't know if he crawled out yet, but holy shit, it scared the hell out of me. I do not like snakes. Hopefully I don't drop this camera. I feel like I should just take the whole cover off the car because the snake will get in the car. This is terrible. There's snakes and f***ing wasps. Why is this yard a goddamn wildlife refuge? Where the f*** is it? I swear to God there was a snake in here. Oh, there he is. He's not huge, but he's moving around a bit. I don't think he's a friendly snake. I feel like he wants to bite me. I feel like he's coiled up, just ready to go. What kind of snake is he? I feel like I'm the goddamn crocodile hunter trying to modify this car. Why is this car cursed? I'm batting electrical, mechanical, biological. Like, I don't want to seem like a pussy, but I really hate snakes. I hate snakes, I hate bugs. I don't know if I should, like, throw something at him just to try to scare him. I really don't want to kill him or anything. I'm gonna throw a wheel chock. God damn it. I don't want to kill you, just get away. Go somewhere else. Just get out of the damn cover. I can cover the car. And don't get in the car. Don't get in the cover even more. Just go away. God damn it, he disappeared again. You son of a bitch. Get out of the cover. Get. Got a frog in the van, snake in the 240. Just don't go in the 240. No, don't go under the car.
No! God, please, no! No!
Whatever, I'm covering it up and I'm going inside and I'm never touching this car again. So, thanks for watching and all that stuff.